We're going to be blending warm or cool colors today in art. Here's a look at what you'll be using today. Make sure you have your messy mat ready. After you write your name on your paper vertically, on the bottom right corner, Ms. Chen will give you a paintbrush. Don't forget to write your class on the back. When you're finished with your Sharpie, mindfully put it back in its home in your table basket. Here's a look at our paint colors today. You'll notice on the bottom is all of our warm colors and on the top is our cool colors. You'll also have your water basket with your water cup filled halfway and a towel inside to dry off your brush. Dipping the tippy toes of your brush into the paint color carefully, make sure you always wash it out before dipping into another paint color. Try to slowly wash your brush mindfully and carefully so that the water does not splash out and get into the paint or onto your artwork. Make sure you always dry off your brush because these paints do not like water. Remember, the towel is only for the paintbrush, not for your hands or your table. Try not to squeeze the paintbrush with the towel. Kind of use it like a doormat when you would just wipe off your shoes to get all the water and mud off. Never pick up your paints from the paint tray. If you also notice that you're running low on a color, just patiently raise your hand and Ms. Chen will bring you some more paint. Because I'm painting with warm colors, I'm going to dip my brush, not scooping it like yogurt, but dipping my brush in mindfully. I'm going to use the lightest color first out of my warm colors. When you place the paint on your paper, if you see a goop or kind of looks like a paint booger, you want to make sure you spread it out. Notice the direction I'm painting in. Am I using different directions or am I just using one? You'll want to spread the paint evenly to cover up all the white paper. Sometimes this paint is kind of thick, so dip your brush into a little bit of water and place it on top of the paint to help it spread. The correct answer is that I'm just using one direction to spread the paint mindfully. To blend the two colors together, I'm placing the orange a little bit on top of the yellow where it ended, and I'm taking a little bit of water and mixing the two on top until it looks like it's well blended. In your painting, you should be able to not see where the first color stops and the new color begins. With the space that's left on my painted paper, I'm now using the darkest of my warm colors, which is red. Filling in the leftover space with red and slowly beginning to overlap the red onto the orange paint. You're painting today, if you notice that your water cup looks super muddy and dirty and brown, pick one person to go over to the sink and refill it with clean water halfway. You should only need to refill your water once or twice today. Make sure it's not too full of water and slowly head back to your table. Here's an example of Ms. Chen blending the three warm colors, working from lightest to darkest, green, blue, and purple. If you notice that you can't see your name in Sharpie anymore, then that means you used too much paint. Use a little bit of water to kind of spread and thin out the paint so you can see your name again. You need to see these two examples. They are up on the chalkboard. When you're ready to head over to the drawing rack, you'll notice that there's lots of colored paper in them. The color paper matches your table color that you're sitting at. So if you sit at the yellow table, find a yellow piece of paper and carefully slide in your wet artwork. Carefully take your messy mat back to your table. At the end of art, if we are clean and quiet, we will get a wet towel to clean off our hands and our table. Now that we've learned about positive and negative space, We're going to be using the shape of leaves to create our positive and negative space. You can use your iPad today and find the slide with the picture of the leaf types. You may use this to draw with. Pick the leaf shape that you're most interested in recreating in your artwork. Remember, we're only drawing half of the leaf that we pick. You'll notice that my drawing looks a little bit different from the picture, and that's okay. You do not have to copy the leaf exactly from the picture. You'll notice that I'm erasing the petal of my leaf. That's the twig looking thing that's sticking out at the bottom. That's kind of like a long line. It won't really work for our positive negative space, so that's why I'm erasing it. You'll just want to stick to drawing the actual half shape of the leaf. Make sure you've double checked your drawing before you pick up your scissors and cut. Try to cut along your pencil line as best as you can. Try to avoid going back and cutting the shape of your leaf, which is your positive space. This will then affect your negative space if you do that. After you're finished cutting, using your eraser, carefully erase any pencil marks that you see. Be careful not to rub too fast because you don't want to bend or crinkle your paper. It's really important to check where we're gluing our positive and negative space papers. You should not be gluing your negative space onto the right side of your paper because then you'll be covering your name. My positive space is on my right and my negative space is on my left. With your messy mat ready and your glue box, open the lid and leave it in the glue tray. Then grab your glue brush and carefully dip your brush in and always wipe it off if it's dripping. Always double check to see which side you need to be gluing on your paper. Place the glue side down and give your paper a good massage. If you still see any edges of paper sticking up, carefully lift it up and just place a small dot of glue and hold down again. Double check which side you need to glue on your positive space again and then repeat the glue steps. When you glue the positive space down, try and match it up to the negative space as close as possible. When you're finished gluing your artwork, turn it into your artwork folder. Double check to make sure there's no glue sticking on the outside or it's going to stick to someone's artwork or the folder. Then take your glue brush and wipe it off and close your glue box. Here's a look at Ms. Chen's finished example with the details of the leaf. Find your artwork from last week in your artwork folder at your table. Double check and make sure there are no pencil marks. After double checking my artwork, I still found some pencil lines, so carefully go back and erase that with an eraser. Using the same leaf picture from last week in our Google Slides, zoom in closer today to look at the details of your leaf. Look at all the little veins, all the little lines, and today we're going to be drawing them to make our leaf look more realistic. I'm drawing in pencil first, but if you feel more confident to use oil pastel, then you may. Just know that you cannot erase oil pastel. Our oil pastels are organized by warm, cool, and neutral colors. It's important that when we use our oil pastels, we use one color at a time and we always mindfully put it back in the correct color family. Remember, oil pastels are soft, so they could break when you're drawing too hard, and they might leave your hands feeling a little bit oily and messy today. When you're feeling confident in your design in pencil, begin to trace over the pencil with oil pastel. As I used cool colors to paint with last week, now I'm going to begin using warm colors, which is the opposite. You drew in pencil first, trace over the oil pastel as best as you can. we no longer want to see the pencil anymore. Still see my pencil, so I'm going to go back over with my oil pastel one more time. You want to see a nice rich color from the oil pastel. So if you need to press a little bit harder, you can do that, just not too hard to where the oil pastel breaks. After double checking your artwork, when you're finished, turn your artwork into your artwork folder.